Ouch! Let me get right on that. But I'm a product of good behavior, and that's the only reason why I'm standing here. And a little short story. There's a military connection here with my dad. My father was a tank commander in the Army, so I was an Army brat, and we moved 5 times from 4th, 5th grade. So it was another school system. And started in Rhode Island, went down to Fort Knox, Kentucky, which is where my father went to tank commander school. Then we were at Schofield Barracks in Hawaii, and then we moved to Connecticut, Rhode Island, upstate New York, Syracuse, back to Rhode Island, then Connecticut again. So I was always moving and grooving. But as a wee lad, I was a C- student at best, kind of D, C-, so we're right there, you and I, But it's funny, successful people are usually folks who start kind of down here, because they're so unhappy and so miserable, and they have no answers for just about anything, and the struggle makes you yearn for a happier, more productive life. So, I was always that kid that got beat up at the bus stop and had his lunch money stolen, and with a speech impediment made it even more awesome, Wow, another reason to beat me up, So, it was a very unhappy childhood, and I didn't have great mentors. People always say, well, who was your mentor growing up? And my father was on the road a lot. He was away a lot as an Army brat. That happens. And so my mother raised me and my 2 sisters. And so being the meek and mild kid with a speech impediment, a C- student who was always moving all the time, it was kind of a lot to kind of overcome early on. And so, when I see these behavioral changes that coaches are making, personal development is the only reason why I'm standing here, and the power of good behavior. Because I had terrible behavior when I was younger. My favorite thing was a double cheese chimichanga with a Dr. Pepper, followed by a brownie covered in some kind of icing, you know what I mean? What a shock, I was napping all the time, I had enough simple carbs to destroy an entire army, in my body at once. But I didn't know better, I didn't know better. So when I made a decision early on, right after college, a friend of mine called me up. It was probably the most important phone call of my life. I think the reason why a lot of you are here in this room is because there's this moment, where you're in this place and you're unhappy, and you just meet somebody or know somebody that made a change in your life. And for me, it was a phone call. It was just a phone call that said, what are you doing this summer? I said, I'm gonna go to Boston and I'm gonna be a waiter. Because that's all I knew to do. And I was petrified, and I was broke, and I was sad, and I was depressed, and I was out of shape, and I was living on fast food and Dr. Pepper. I love that Dr. Pepper, man. What the hell's in that stuff anyway? It's not root beer, it's not cream soda, it's like something else. But I had to get off it. It was like my personal crack. But so my friend Bob Hennessy, who's still a good pal to this day, said, I'm going to California for the summer, do you want to go? And I think within 15 milliseconds, I said, yeah, I'm going to California. I got $400, that'll do it. I ran out of money in Colorado Springs, so I had to do mime in the streets, I had to go out there and make an extra $125 so I could go all the way to Orange County, California. It's true story, I swear to God. And I slept on his sister's floor, but I was in Huntington Beach, and it was California, and I had no money, and the only money I made was literally putting on the white face, I was a pantomime, and just doing mime in the streets. And I would live on Cheerios and yogurt for 3 days at a time. God's honest truth. I mean, I was in a bad way, but I didn't care. I was 21, I was young. But one thing I discovered was that there were sources outside of myself where I could get answers. And so I started doing a lot of personal development, because I didn't do any in elementary school or junior high school or college. I was just sort of getting by, trying to, pass barely with my C-. I almost got held back in 3rd grade, and I almost didn't graduate from high school because I liked sleeping and drinking beer underage. Just like, what was I doing? And I was just so, and I would assume that there are some of you out there who have had these periods in your life where you felt like things weren't going very well. Anyone? Raise your hand. Anyone? Keep your hands up if that was awesome. Okay. All right, so that's the reason why we're here. That's the reason why we're coaches. That's the reason why we're making these connections. And so fortunately for me, I decided to start reading books. Like you see some of these books up here. It's the reason why I wrote mine. I wrote 3 books. The first one was a fitness book. The second one was a fitness book. And also, videos, Crush It, Bring It, Crush It. But my third book, The Big Picture, The 11 Laws That Will Change Your Life, those 11 laws changed my life. These were 11 behaviors that I needed to do, that I developed along the way to make me happy. Because ultimately, that's what it's about. It's not about the money, all right? I mean, I've had tremendous success. I've been with Beachbody from the very beginning when Carl and I and two other, and John Comden, and one secretary were in a room the size of the stage. You know, and everybody went, forget it, you're not gonna make it. And now look at us, $1.3 billion company, and look at all the deals. And it's all the power of good behavior. So what I decided to do, much like George Costanza in a Seinfeld episode, was to do the opposite of what I was doing. I decided that maybe sleeping until 10:30, not a good idea. Like just eating fast food all the time, not a good idea. Deciding never to exercise, not a good idea. So I just kept doing different things based on meeting new people, having new experiences, being in California, reading these self-help books, and joining 4 gyms. I joined an aerobics gym, I joined a bodybuilding gym, I joined a gym that had like mostly boxing and that kind of thing. And another one was just a gym because that's where all the cute girls were. So I'm gonna go to the cute girl gym today. Right? And so when you create a completely different atmosphere for yourself, obviously something's gonna change. You know, if everybody in this room was forced to become professional rock climbers, like that was your thing for a year, I'm just gonna do that, you'd probably be pretty good at rock climbing. So my goal was to start actually applying the information that I read in these books. And if you look at my book, The Big Picture, it's really stealing from Tony Robbins and Andrew Weil and from Deepak Chopra. It's just ripped off from all their stuff. I mean, you can't reinvent the push-up either, right? So look at P90X. P90X is a collaboration of all the things that I had been doing at these 4 different gyms. Like I would do a certain exercise, or I'd meet somebody. I would hang out with like Spy and Lou Ferrigno and Arnold Schwarzenegger at Gold's Gym in LA. That was really cool. Just like, what's Arnold doing? Holy crap, I'm writing it down. Same thing with Lou Ferrigno, incline curls. I've never done that before. Write that down, right? So you'll see a lot of those things in the program. Like I would go to aerobics classes and I'd be the only guy in there. Like, holy crap, this is where the girls are. How you doing? Yeah. Great class. Yeah, fantastic. What's your name? Yeah. I don't know what this is or what it does, but I'm the only guy in here, so where are the guys? So I would, same thing with mixed martial arts. I remember going to a yoga class for the first time and being down going, yoga? Stupid. We're gonna do this for 30 minutes? Oh. No, I'm in half moon, in a flop sweat going, this is hard, this is hard. Hard, this must do something because it's hard, right? So what I kept doing, because I was trying to avoid the boredom and injuries and plateaus that come from doing the same myopic fitness all the time. Anybody have that experience? Like you started a program and it's not working anymore, but you kept going because that's all you knew. So my goal was to just be curious, right? Just make sure that I was always searching, looking, hanging out with badasses. That was my goal, And so, fortunately for me, when I met Carl 17 years ago, I just got done reading a book, The Magic Lamp, Keith Ellis's book, The Magic Lamp. It's been around for a long time. And at the end of the chapter, every chapter, there'd be a little lesson. And one of the lessons at one of the chapters, it's funny, because when I think about this book and this lesson at the end of this chapter is probably one of the main reasons why everybody is in here, oddly enough. It's all about serendipity, right? So it said, go out of your way and do something extraordinary for getting the 5-minute mark. Okay, so I better finish strong, that's all I know. Always, no, never, damn. So to make a long story good, it said go out of your way and do something extraordinary for somebody that you're in conflict with, or somebody you don't get along with, or somebody you don't like. It's hard enough for most of us to do that for people we do like, We barely take care of ourselves, never mind the people that we love or we care about, but for people that we don't like. I think I'd rather eat poop. Sounds like a terrible idea. That's probably, there's the line, here I went. Tony crossed the line again. But there was this gentleman who was a lawyer, and we used to play basketball, and we didn't get along, and sometimes we argued, And I thought he was complaining that he wasn't in shape and he couldn't get up and down the basketball court. So I offered to train him. I'm like, okay, he's going to say no, because we don't even like each other. And he called me up that afternoon and said, hey, when can we start? And his name is Ben Vanderbilt. He's got his own conference room over at Beachbody. He's been a huge player. And so a year later, he introduced me to Carl. Carl was a kid, great ambition, brilliant, just, wanted to take over the world. And he said, I'm going to hire this guy, Carl, and I think you guys have a lot in common. And can I invite him to a workout? I said, fine. Whatever. Within 6 months, we developed Carl and I developed Great Body Guarantee. After that was Power 90. After that was P90X. So I didn't have to live in a van down by the river anymore. Woo! So I want to finish with just one thing. 2 things. 7 things. No. Personal development is everything. Too many people get out of college and high school and think they're done. And that's the reason why their lives go this way and not this way. The only way you're going to improve in this business is to understand that you have to learn more, communicate better, and create situations in your life with like-minded people who want to kick ass. Sound good?
Yeah.
Secondly, if you really want to have everything that you want in your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, financially, relationship-wise, it really comes down to the power of good behavior. It sounds so simple, but that's the reason why I'm standing here. I ate terrible food, I made bad decisions, I never exercised. I started doing the opposite of those 3 things, and now I get to stand here in our nation's capital, chatting with all of you, to explain to you that if I can do it, you can do it. Absolutely. And the physical thing, the whole, we developed 22-minute hardcore to make a connection with our troops. We all want to support our troops, we say that. Now there's an actual act that says, I do support the troops through physical behavior. Look at 22-minute hardcore. It's the biggest thing I've ever created, and it's only a couple of weeks old. It's crazy. It's awful. Learn more, move 5 to 7 days a week, and make good food choices, because what that does, it changes your brain chemistry. It changes who you are, it changes your outlook, it changes your cognition, your memory, your sleep patterns, your sex drive, all of it. I'm just saying. These are things that we want, and these are things that you can control and nobody else does. You can't control your family or traffic or what's going on in the world, but you can control you. Every time you look at your plate, say to yourself, every morsel matters.
Yeah.
Pancakes, waffles, double cheese chimichangas. Up to you. Figure out how to make healthy food taste good, and it's the way your brain functions. It gives you more energy, helps you sleep better, gives you the desire to get up the next morning and work out, and to build your coaching business, and that's what it's all about. So I want to thank you all for having me here this morning.